Good morning. It's Friday morning. Usually I record these things each morning, but today I'm recording several ahead of time, so you'll see the same shirt and the same background. Today we're looking at Matthew 5:21 through 26, which is where Jesus says, "You have heard that it was said to those of old, 'You shall not murder.' But I say, everyone who is angry will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to the council," and things like that. And he says, if you are making your sacrifice and you remember that your brother has something against you, stop and go and make peace with your brother first, and then come and make your sacrifices to God. Otherwise, you may be put into prison, and those who are in prison will never get out until they've paid the last penny, summarizing what Jesus says there. So the first thing we need to know is that in those days, the rabbis would teach and say, well, you've heard it said, and Rabbi so-and-so said, and this is that, and then they would discuss what was said. Jesus says, you've heard it said, but I say something different. And that's really incredible, because that means he's sort of speaking as though he were God. God gave the law. Well, yes, but I'm saying, well, who are you? How can you do this? This is blasphemy, unless you happen to be the incarnate Son of God. So there's a clue there of the kind of authority he has. He also takes the law, which says don't kill, and says not only should you not kill, don't even get angry. Now, few of us Presbyterians have killed anybody, I'm guessing, but we've all been angry a lot with people, sometimes justified, many times unjustified, and we get angry over things that are just trivial. We should just learn to walk away, but we can't, and we don't. So, what does he do? He takes the law and tightens it up, makes it almost impossible to obey the law. I mean, everybody gets angry. You get angry a lot. You get angry even when you're trying not to. You get angry over things that other people will not be angry about. You get angry over the way someone acts in public, some politician or some public figure. You get angry about the people in the parking lot who can't slow down. I used to frequently use the folks in Camp Hill as my sermon illustrations, because they could never stop at the dadgum four-way stop signs. And they'd roll through them waving at you when you're stopped. You were there first, but they're waving like, oh, thank you for letting me go ahead. And I'm thinking, I should crash into you. And why get angry over people that are acting stupid, frankly? But that's the way it happens. And so much of the time that happens. And we need to learn to let things roll off of us, like, the water off a duck's back, or to let things go, to let things slide, not to be angry all the time at everybody. What about when anger's justified? I think there are times when we should be angry, when we see injustice happening, when we see poor people mistreated, particularly when we see people of color mistreated. Some years ago I was at an African-American church to do a worship service, and I was waiting on it to start. And as I was kind of hanging around, I was the only one there in the building, and as I was hanging around, I noticed a brochure available that instructed young people what to do if you're stopped by the police. And it told a lot of, always do what they say, don't make any sudden moves, keep your hands in sight, don't do anything weird. And I thought, well, all that's good advice, But what struck me is that I had never seen a brochure like that. It never occurred to me that we need to give our teenagers that sort of teaching. We tell them to, obey the policeman when you're stopped. Yeah, but not because they might be thrown in jail or shot or something. We've seen all of that happening. So that stuff should make us angry. And we should find ways, though, to deal with that anger that is constructive and positive and will lead to something good. So if you have that kind of anger, turn that energy into something positive, and let's find ways to do things that are good. Otherwise, let's not be angry with each other. That's not the way to live. So we'll see you tomorrow, Saturday morning.